Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Oceanside Ice Arena, as this is the first of our final two Western Regional matchups on this Saturday afternoon here in Tempe, Arizona. This matinee between Utah State and BYU, the interstate rival. I am Niall Cooper, and I will now bring in my partner, Brett Vaughn. And Brett, as we get ready for this first Western Regional of the day, the last two of the entire weekend, this should be an exciting matchup between BYU and Utah State, both getting big victories yesterday.
Yeah, big stuff on the line here tonight. Whoever's going to win this game is going to be representing the Western region as well in the game coming up after this one. And it's a special feeling. I was lucky and fortunate able to win in Logan, Utah, and have my Arizona State team go represent the Western region in Westchester, Pennsylvania. And again, it's brought so many great memories when I think back on it now, and that's what is at stake for these players tonight.
And they'll be certainly making some memories for the better or the worse. Only one team will come out the winner of this game tonight. We have seen some great goaltending in numerous matchups, but maybe none better than what we've seen with Utah State.
Yeah, it was Pritchard, the goaltender, Coulter Pritchard. He had a fantastic game against Metro State yesterday, was able to pull up the upset, as well as the guys around him on the bench were doing a great job of keeping the energy up. They did not have a dip in their performance or effort level the whole 60 minutes.
They didn't, and BYU last night, we were here for a late one. Our boy Seth was on the call. It was GCU, BYU with a big 4-0 victory despite the hometown crowd in favor of GCU. And it seemed like BYU brought their A game right out of the gate, and they never seemed to waver.
Yeah, for Grand Canyon University, again, with that hometown crowd, it felt like they had that kind of wave going in of momentum. BYU was able to weather the first 5 minutes, and from there it paid off, and they just kept coming at Grand Canyon and really just shut them down the whole rest of the game.
So it should be a battle of goaltending against the elite play that BYU brought last night. Folks, we hope you stick around and stay with us for this Western Regional matchup. Puck drop is just a moment away here on ASU YouTube. And after our national anthems, we bring you back in, folks. BYU, Utah State, preparing for this Saturday afternoon matchup. The road to Frisco, as the trip to nationals is on the line. In net for BYU, number 33, Jared Manzella. 593 goals against average on the season, 834 save percentage. At the other end of the ice for the Aggies, in net is number 30, Coulter Pritchard, the Juneau, Alaska native, sporting a 378 goals against, 900 save percentage. And he has been absolutely lights out this weekend for the Aggies. as we get set, and we have puck drop here at the Western Regionals as we begin our finale between the two Utah teams. BYU with a chance to break it out of their own end to open the game. They will, dumping it in. It's Barris. Ball. Looking for the long headman pass to O'Brien, just out of reach. No icing on the play. Eisenstadt tries to get it out. He'll have another opportunity, but turns it over at the blue line. O'Brien, a backhander by Kirkvliet. Behind the net, jamming away at it is Masiunas. Masiunas, a big goal in yesterday's affair. And O'Brien will tag up on the delayed offsides.
Again, very impressed by this defensive core for BYU, especially number 15, Logan Porter, was able to shut down the big guns for GCU last night.
Trying to make a move at the blue line unsuccessfully is Decker, and BYU will dump it back in. Kirkfliet, the captain, he can't corral it. Ball, backhands one off of the half wall. Now he'll get it out of the zone. And the Aggies will reset from their own end as they get a change. In front of the net, BYU trying to corral. Throwing one just wide of the net is 24, Christensen. Back at the point, the drive, and Pritchard will glove that one away. As stepping into one was Boyer. Coming back now. On his strong side, trying to whip one into the middle was Koslet. He didn't have any reinforcements as they were still coming from the bench. And now BYU will send it all the way down.
Christensen, again, almost found himself in the same exact spot that he put home 3 goals last night against Barabash, against GCU. He's really turned into a goal scorer during this tournament.
BYU would surely love to see another hat trick at the hands of Christensen, or just about anyone for that matter. Pritchard with other ideas as he looks to continue his stellar play. BYU now in the offensive with a quick one-timer in the slot. Unable to hold the rebound, and they score! BYU on the board first as Pritchard can't control the rebound. The puck ends up in the back of the net, and it's 1-0 Brigham Young.
BYU again ferocious on that forecheck of what they were doing last night against GCU, and it's going to be Hugh Blum being able to put that puck in the back of the net. Took a weird ricochet as once they're able to corral it behind the net of the goaltender Pritchard, they just centered that in front, hit a couple bodies, and ended up being Blum getting the last touch.
And right now, Brigham Young getting it up and down their lineup. Christensen yesterday, Blum today. Not known for their goal scoring, but getting one when it counts. And BYU's off to the quick start. That'll be sent all the way down. No icing as it got deflected. Ball trying to make a play. Lalliere comes in behind his own net. He'll try to spin. He turns it over in front of the net, and Pritchard with a great desperation save off of the one-timer attempt from Stroud. Pritchard saving the Aggies bacon on that attempt. A great one-timer opportunity for BYU. And they're on the front foot early. In the corner, just trying to kill it and delay as teammates come in to help out is Walton. Back at the point now, the drive. It's loose in front, unable to control the rebound was Manzella. And BYU does get it out of their own zone, and they come back the other way on the offensive. Blum will lose control of it, though. Pardon me, Stroud, and they'll go back for a change.
Utah State's going to have to slow it a little down the pace of the game. BYU really flying out of the gates here in the start of this first period.
Kirkvliet seals the wall, keeps it in. Masiunas trying to throw in front. Kirkvliet, and he scores! The captain gets the Aggies on the board and ties it back up at 1-1 here in the first.
Masiunas, a big player, stepped up last night, stepped up again. Was able to pick off the pass in BYU's own zone, and from there was able to center that puck in front and allow the goal to happen for Utah State and for Cutshaw to put that one in. BYU with a great answer back to get this game at 1-1. And again, it's going to be a tight affair. Both of these teams kind of mirror each other on how they generate offense. And again, 2 turnovers end up being costly for both teams.
The Aggies, the slightly smaller of the 2 teams, a little bit quicker, and you saw it as Masiunas, a good job behind the net to dig it out and throw it in front of the net. And Kirk Fliette, while he didn't get all the mustard on it he wanted, he got it in the correct spot, just slips past Manzella. At the point, Ball walks the line, throws a wrister, glove down, and BYU will clear it. Decker knocks it down and will dump it back in. Almost 5 minutes into the first, we've already had 2 goals. 1 for each team, and the Western Regionals off to a flying start today. BYU switches it and just yields possession. And Brett Fernandez now will come in for the Aggies as he gets fresh troops coming in late behind him. Blauer now sidesteps the defenseman, gets into the puck first. He'll win it, get it back to the point. Looking for the wrist shot, no deflection as Lalliere was in front. Lubin tossed that one on from the point. Christensen will dump it into the corner, and he will go off for a change. Walton on the half wall, he'll set up the breakout. Gets it up to Blauer, a little bit trouble keeping it on his stick. He'll look off the forechecker, get it to far, and he'll dump it into the far corner boards. A fast early pace to this game. Behind the offensive end, the assistant captain, Barber, back to the point. Unable to do anything with it was Rudder. A turnover at his own blue line by Walton. He'll have a second chance now to try and do something with it. He cannot, though, and it's kept in by BYU, only temporarily, as they have to tag up. Barber back in, trying to swing one into the slot. He was looking for Thunhorst. Now it's the Aggies going for the Hail Mary pass, but O'Brien couldn't corral it.
It's going to be important for both teams as they're a little antsy, I think, amped up for such a big occasion here today at Oceanside Ice Arena. And they're going to have to go back to their fundamentals of focusing on their mechanics and focusing on trying to get that puck north and south. If it's a high-risk pass, maybe elect to just go for that easy chip off the glass and just make the safe play.
O'Brien gets sent to the ice on a hard check from Shimbashi. No worse for the wear, though, is O'Brien. He'll go right to the net as he gets in the grill of Manzella.
You can feel electricity today here inside Oceanside Ice Arena. Both team supporters have traveled well, as well as everybody tuning in. Again, thank you so much for tuning in to Arizona State Hockey YouTube, and we're so glad to bring you this Division II regional action.
Fernandez off of the glass. He'll give it away to BYU. Now behind his own net, trying to sort it out is Ball. He'll end up finding Fernandez. Now ahead to Masiunas. Masiunas in across the line. Kirk Fliette drags the foot. O'Brien on it now. He's all alone, and a good save by Manzella as O'Brien came in on the forehand right in front of the crease. Farr throws one on, and the paddle down. Manzella will get the save on that attempt.
Broken play ended up developing for Utah State. Manzella again at the center of it as he slowed the play down once he entered in the offensive zone. Got a shot on, but ended up getting blocked, but luckily it was the trailer O'Brien for Utah State to pick it up, and he had a golden opportunity right in the middle of the slot, uncovered.
That shot from the point, fired wide by Farr. Kept in. Ripping one is Cutshall. No one there to collect the rebound, and BYU will just fire it diagonally out of the zone and alleviate the pressure. Decker wanted that one, but a good deflection from Koslet denies him the puck. Eisenstadt sends one on. Pritchard pushes it away. Cutshall now will get it out of the zone. Ahead to Decker. He'll kick it up to himself, but the puck stuck in the feet of the linesman. And now it's BYU's puck. Christensen sidesteps Fernandez. Button hooks at the top of the zone. And now he has it in his own end. 11:30 remaining in the first. It's a 1-1 game. Ball. Head up. Doesn't like what he sees, so he'll skate it. Dropping it. Fernandez ahead. Walton now in on the offensive. He's got troops going to the net. Looking for Lalliere, but he couldn't get the pass. And now circling his own end is Rudder. Rudder trying to chip it out. It's kept in at the point by Fernandez. The redirection blocked in front by Boyer. Walton trying to get back in on it. Delivers a big check for Rudder, but loses the puck. Boyer now weaving, throws a high wrister over the net. And that will rim out of the zone where Blauer can manage it. He'll start and dump it in.
Heads up play by the Utah State forward, Dalton Elallier, being able to get his stick down for that redirection off the point shot.
Kerkvliet pouncing on a turnover now. We'll get the Aggies offense going, and they cycle it in the corner. O'Brien up to the point. Lubin will keep it in. He'll send it around far, thinking about activating. Decides better of it, and Masiunas will get in on the forecheck. The Aggies have numbers. They win the puck. Far will throw one. That's deflected, but no traffic. And Manzella able to make the save. Lubin keeps it in. Lubin keeps it in a second time, and he'll dump it in the corner. O'Brien back after it. The Aggies putting on the pressure. Lubin, he'll pump one. It's redirected over the net. Manzella didn't have a chance at it. And the Aggies go right back after it once more. Masiunas in the corner, using his body to protect it. He'll drop it to O'Brien. Now to Kerkvliet. Back up to the point of Far. Far looking for the wrister. Juggling it is Manzella. And he'll make that save with 9:35 left in the first.
Utah State had some great zone possession in the offensive zone, and they were having some success feeding those point shots up to their defensemen. BYU needs to do a better job of either one, that weak side wing of being able to come up and cover those points a little better and block the shot, or two, those defensemen in front picking up sticks of those Utah State forwards so they can't get a redirection on.
Cutshall has had a good weekend for the Aggies. As he's put his full speed on display time and time again, he can really move.
Yeah, I definitely can. Such a crucial skill in hockey, especially for how fast this game is.
Cutshall has it in spades, but so does Shimbashi, and he's coming in on a 2-on-1, looking for the shot. And it was Ball defensively who laid out to block the passing lane. And as they tried to leave their zone, the Aggies take an interference penalty. And BYU will go on the power play.
Brett Fernandez caught a little flat foot in the offensive zone, so he had to hustle back on the back check to get back to his regular defensive assignment in the zone, and was a little too aggressive. Ended up taking out Alex Barris for BYU, and unfortunately Barris didn't have the puck, and so that ends up being an interference call, and it'll be the Cougars having a power play opportunity.
A rough break for Fernandez as he's had a good weekend so far. A couple big plays in both Utah State victories. He is the guilty party, however, here. Trying to center it in front of the net is Boyer. He gets some help from Christensen, back up to the point. Backhanding it down low is Koslet. Koslet on it once again, fakes the backhand, skates into the middle and sends it down low. Into the slot. Christensen was wide open, but Catalan couldn't get it to him.
Looks like BYU, when they're on this power play, again, try to flare out with the umbrella and try to hit that guy floating around the high slot.
Ball on it for the Aggies. He'll try to hack it out of the zone. Sealing the wall is Catlin. Behind the net now. Boyer up to Coslet. Back to Boyer. Up top. Fitcher fakes the shot. The one-timer now. Coslet didn't get all the wood he wanted. And Pritchard made the save. Firing it down, but only as far as center as ball. And BYU can re-enter the zone. Dumping it behind the net. Boyer in on it. He gets around far and wins the puck. BYU changing behind the play. 40 seconds left on the power play. Ball pinning it against the wall, trying to kill as much time as he can. But it's picked back up at the point. The wrister through traffic. It wouldn't go. Stroud keeps it in to Christensen. Down low he goes, back up to Christensen. He looks for the shot, and he scores! Chase Christensen adds to his goal total on the weekend. That's 4 for him, 2 for BYU, and they lead.
Yeah, I'm not sure what Chase Christensen had for breakfast before he ended up coming into this weekend, but I want some of it because he is on fire. As BYU, give credit to them. They're able to keep at it. Utah State doing a good job plugging up their shooting lanes, blocking shots, but again, it was the Cougars' possibly 5th chance when they entered into the zone that finally paid off for them. Again, they were hard on the puck, kept getting after it, and finally chipped away and got that goal.
And the Aggies, they had their opportunity to clear the puck all the way down and get it changed, but Ball only could get it as far as center, and BYU came right back at him. And that's never going to be good for your penalty kill when you can't get the clear given the opportunity. So it's a 2-1 lead for Brigham Young, their second lead of the first period. Thanks to that beautiful shot by Chase Christensen, which painted the upper corner. BYU coming back for more, trying to center it in front was Shimbashi. Shimbashi in the corner as he gets worked over by Grieber. And now Rudder has to activate. He'll backhand one in the slot. Nobody there. And here come the Aggies. Cutshall moving his feet. He gets past 2, drops it, and the shot by McKechnie deflects wide. Blocked in front by Eisenstadt. Fernandez at the point. The ball, he rips one that goes wide of the net. Cutshall trying to wrap it, and it's in front on all fours was Manzella as he sprawled out trying to stop the wraparound, but the Aggies couldn't get the shot on frame. McKechnie will chip it off the boards, down low, no icing. Cutshall trying to get in after it. Bodied away by Carlson. And Wheeler at center ice lays a big hit, and now BYU can get it in the zone. Carlson, wrist one trying to go high, short side, just missed the net. Walton, a little behind his forward. He was looking for Blauer. And now it's Carlson and Wheeler, and they'll give it to Blum. Just under 6 minutes left in the first period. And a lot of action so far, Brett.
Yeah, unfortunate. Cutshall looked like he had an opportunity on that wraparound earlier.
Very close, but no cigar. Blauer in the corner, fans on it, backhands it into the slot. Valier trying to get it. O'Brien now back to Blauer, and his attempt will go wide. Blauer, a good second effort, coming back to keep it in the zone. But ultimately, BYU prevails, and Thunhorst can get it in deep. BYU coming in waves right now on the forecheck as they look to establish some physicality. Thunhorst pauses, delays, and dumps it in. come the Aggies. Trying to reach back for it was Kirk Vliet, but the assistant captain pitcher for BYU, a good job to lift his stick and move the puck.
You can hear the bench shouting down on BYU's side of really just trying to hold this lead down and try to slow it down a little bit and get it back to their tempo they want.
A hard check delivered in front of the BYU bench. Decker was on the receiving end. And Christensen, the goal scorer, coming back. He's past the defenseman, tries to get a shot in front. And Pritchard will cover it up as Christensen got ridden hard into the boards.
And Christensen is just buzzing with some rocket skate he's got out there today on the Oceanside ice. And really impressive. I still can't believe, looking at his stat sheet coming into the weekend, he's only scored 6 goals in the whole rest of the season. I'm not sure if he just got maybe a late Christmas gift from Santa coming in, but I can't believe he's been playing amazing.
He might equal that tally for his season total in this weekend alone if he can get a couple more today. A catalyst he has been for BYU. That's a hand pass, no change, and an offensive zone draw coming for Brigham Young.
Aggies here feeling a little bit of pressure. I think BYU is getting a little more comfortable into this game, holding this 1-goal lead. It's going to be interesting here off the draw. Looks like the centerman's communicating with Fred Fernandez down the corner on maybe a set play if they can win it.
Turning it, trying to get it into the slot was Barris, and now at the point, both teams dig away at it. Ultimately, it comes out to center and can be dumped back in. Pritchard sees the oncoming forechecker and decides to cover and take the whistle.
Utah State could just figure out a way to possibly break out their own zone as it's been pent up in there for a little bit, courtesy of BYU. They've been having some chances. Once they get into that offensive zone, they're starting to outwork and get lucky on some bounces on those second chance broken plays, but it's really not lucky because they're working hard to win races to lose pucks, causing those turnovers.
Prevailing out of the draw is Kirk Vliet. He'll send it down. O'Brien in after it. He delivers a big check, and then he takes one back. Kirk Vliet, though, can keep it in. Back to the point. Ball settles it down to Fernandez. He wasn't quite ready for it. We'll just throw it into the defenseman in front of him. And BYU can come back. They would have had a 3-on-2, but the pass couldn't connect from Udall. Fernandez. Head up, finds Kirk Vliet. He tries to toe drag. Now Ball can shake off Udall, and he'll send it in deep. 2:44 on the clock. The Aggies trying to get something back. Stuck along the boards. The referee telling him to move it, or he'll be forced to blow the play dead. It ends up sliding around the boards and out of the zone now. And Ball will delay. A soft dump in. Easy enough to handle. And Thunhorst can bring it back in for BYU. In the corner, Thunhurst looking in front, didn't have anyone. And that pass will exit the zone. Ball tries to send it up the half wall, but it evades his man, and Eisenstadt now can play it for BYU. Thunhurst pushes one to Nielsen. He gets it in the zone. Ollier in his feet, trying to dig it out. Players slipping and sliding all around. No call from the referee, as he elects to let them play it out.
Got to give credit to the head coach, Dave Pitcher, for BYU. I think they're recognizing and making an in-game adjustment here in this first period of really trying to protect those point shots on Utah State's end.
No icing, as that puck won't go quite far enough. BYU will try to break it out. Koslet deflects it into the offensive zone. It's the first one there. Trying to send the pass across the zone. He had Catalan on the far side. Catalan now trying to keep it in, but it'll be forked out by Grieber. And BYU wants to try to bring it back in. 45 seconds on the clock. Grieber trying to clear it. Christensen was all over him. The Aggies will find and clear it out to the neutral zone as the BYU forecheck proving to be effective. The Aggies can't get past center. 22 seconds on the clock in the first period. Farr in his own end. He backhands it as far as center. Shimbashi loses the stick check to McKechnie. And it's Cutshall now. Cutshall in on the offensive zone, but he's offsides. And Cutshall, he didn't see O'Brien to his left, otherwise might have had a chance to enter the zone legally and even get a shot off.
Tremendous hustle by Alex Stroud of BYU to be able to hustle back. And although he couldn't collect the puck, it forced Cutshall to end up impeding his skate and end up going offside, and the whistle will have the face-off out in the neutral zone.
One there by Barris. He'll throw one on low far side, kicked away by Pritchard. And the buzzer will sound on the first. And a 2-1 BYU lead after 20 minutes. And Brett, it was certainly deserved for the Cougars.
Yeah, it definitely was. Seemed a little more attentive out there and be able to create turnovers, especially once they established their forecheck in Utah State's end. But for that first period, no penalties called. This game's been flying by. I feel like we could maybe even fit in a dinner and a movie after this one, Niall.
I certainly would love that. I don't think it's 2-for-1 Tuesdays, unfortunately, as we are in the weekend. But it being Saturday does mean some great Western Regional action. And we will have even more of it for you between Utah State and BYU when we come back for the second period in a short 15 minutes here on Arizona State University ACHA YouTube. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Oceanside Ice Arena. I am Niall Cooper. My partner is Brett Vaughn. Our cameraman is Seth Askelson, and we are bringing you some exciting Western Regional action today as Utah State and BYU battle it out for a spot in Frisco, Texas at the national level. And right now BYU holds that lead 2-1.
Yeah, crazy first period. 3 goals already scored in a game that we were thinking might have been a cagey affair to start off, but definitely hasn't been.
Absolutely not. A very fast start to this game. BYU tried to settle things down late. Did a good job closing things up, playing some sound defense, and limiting the Aggies' chances. But the Aggies looking for something early here. O'Brien drops it to Kirkfleet. He pauses, shoots. That goes on the outside of the net. Rebound swung around. Masiunas can't find the crease. Ball will glove it down, settle it, and send it up. Decker, he's past Pitcher. Pitcher trips, but manages to get his stick on the puck and deflects it away, and BYU can come back the other direction. McKechnie leaves it for Walton. He fires and he scores! It's Decker who wrists one from the blue line, somehow finds its way in, and the Aggies have tied this up early.
Man, that shot ended up going bar down. Ended up beating Jared Manzelas. I don't think he was expecting that shot to really happen, just came on him quick. Wasn't really the hardest shot. I think just he couldn't get his arm up there in time. And Utah State came out like gangbusters in this first 54 minutes, and they end up getting an early goal.
The Edina, Minnesota native, 28 points on the season, and a huge goal this afternoon. Early in the second, we've seen countless of goals to open periods in this tournament, Brett. And just another one added to the list. A big goal from Decker. He's been all over it tonight. Another one of the Aggies' fast forwards that they like to throw up and down the lineup.
Yeah, again, Decker just using his speed to work that puck in, and he just had a nice little corral and caress of the puck and just launched one.
The Aggies in their own end. Will chip one out to center. McKechnie can't corral it. McKechnie will lay a big hit behind the play as he sends Blum down. Wouldn't want to be on the receiving end of a hit from Connor McKechnie. 6'4", 200. He's a big boy. And Blum felt his wrath. Back at it now with McKechnie. 2 stick checks, though. Get the puck off of him. The Aggies a little trouble on their own end. The stick check from Wheeler keeps it in. O'Brien next to the referee. He'll send it up to McKechnie. And a collision at center ice. Now O'Brien with it. Stick checked again. McKechnie laying a lot of hits on this shift. Drieger in the corner. And that's out. No change for the Aggies as they flipped it out of play from their own end.
Evidence of so many lead changes already in this hockey game. I don't think any team's going to either have, one, the confidence or two, the wherewithal to be able to hold a 1-goal lead. So it's almost as if it's whoever's going to score last is going to win this game.
And that would certainly be exciting for all of us and all of you tuning in today, including Michelle Porter. We thank you for sticking with us each and every game here at the Western Regionals. And everyone else that's tuning in, happy to bring you this great action. That point shot from Eisenstadt wouldn't go. In the corner, looking for the centering pass is Barris. Now it's Stroud. Barris comes in to help him out. Shinbashi also there. Puck up against the wall. Trying to dig it out is Kirk Vliet. Almost takes a tripping penalty. The captain on it now. As he can get it up to the half wall to his forward. Masiunas can't get it out. Thrown around, and Eisenstadt just barely keeps it in at the point. Back to Pitcher, and he'll shovel one from the point, and that's gloved down by Pritchard.
BYU having a nice little zone time on the offensive side of things, as Utah State's going to try to go ahead and switch up this forward core for them. Looks like BYU's going to elect to do that as well. For the goaltender, Pritchard, he didn't have to do too much on that point stop as there was no traffic in front.
BYU, they lead the season series coming into today 4-1. They are in the 5 games they've played against Utah State. So certainly the mental advantage they had coming into this game, which manifested itself early as they got on the board first. But the Aggies have answered each time that BYU has been able to get the goal.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be an icing call, as Dagan Walton was going to get that pass that was intended for him, but he saw a BYU player on his peripheral vision just trying to hunt him down as he got a little bit of those alligator arms, ended up electing to not touch the puck, ends up going for an icing instead.
Very stop and go right now since the Aggies got the tying goal in this game. As both teams seem to be stuck between the idea of pushing forward or playing sound defense. Right now it's the Aggies, a good job breaking it up in their own end, and Walton can send it down the ice. But it goes a little too far, and Brett, as this ice looks to finally have dried out, this puck's starting to move a little bit.
Yeah, it definitely is. So again, if you're on the bench, you're going to have to communicate with your teammates, and as well as with your decision inside your own mind on where you're going to make a pass, and you have to put that into the equation.
I don't know we were bringing equations into this, Brett. I didn't bring my calculator today.
Yeah, I know math isn't your strong suit.
Blauer in the corner for the Aggies. He gets past Koslet. Now gets past the defenseman and tries to send it forward. Good effort by Blauer. He'll send it all the way down the ice. Icing waved off at the last second. BYU coming right back. Wheeler. He'll send it into the far corner. Blum chasing the puck down. Wheeler gives a body check. Blum gives a body check. Wheeler gets the puck, but once again stuck up against the boards as Lalliere is content to just kill it. Utah State happy to play this at their own pace right now. Fernandez can't keep it in. He'll give it away, and Brigham Young comes back. That shot around the corner. Pitcher collects it, sends it in front, blocked down. The Cougars getting a change behind the play, and that allows Blauer to send it out. Second period means a long change, and that's BYU coming back 4-on-2. A good stick by Fernandez disrupts that entry. Frost jumps on the ice. He'll throw one short side, ball blocks it. Ball gulfs it ahead. Chipped once more. Touched in front, and Cutshall almost in. And behind the play, Cutshall laid a big hit. Looked to be a late hit on number 5, Eisenstadt. He went in really hard to the boards. He is not happy, and he's giving it to the ref.
Yeah, a little charged up. I think it might have been a couple of things, possibly a case of him getting touched into the ice at the same time as he was trying to turn. I think ended up losing an edge. And again, with this fresh ice sheet, you're just going to see somebody just flying across the ice, and he went to the boards a little hard.
Barris in the draw up against Cutshall. Cutshall wins it for the Aggies. Far activates from the wing, picks it up. And the Aggies can send it out. Cutshall with his great speed in after it. On the weak side, he'll backhand one on. Manzella can kick it to the corner boards where the Aggies look to get it. McKechnie at the point manages to keep it in, and Cutshaw now will whip one around. He can't get it on frame. McKechnie trying to win the stick check, ends up losing that battle, and it'll be clapped back in. Kirk Fliette deflects it, and that pass for BYU a little harder to handle. So far is able to send it back in for the Aggies. 13:44 remaining in the middle period. We're in a tie game. A good defensive play in front of his own net by far, as Stroud was coming right at him. Cutshaw. He goes to the bench. BYU trying to get out of their end, as Grieber claps it in, ends up catching Masayunas. A little friendly fire in the neutral zone. Kirk Fliette takes a hip check from Stroud. BYU tries to get out. Kirk Fliette can keep it in. He'll wrist one, and an easy glove save for Manzella. And as he seemed to taunt the player in front of the net for the Aggies, who was O'Brien, coming in to give him a nice little shot was Axel Boyer. The referee keeps the whistle in his pocket, though.
Yeah, interesting. I think once that Eisenstadt hit, ended up getting up and drawing a little bit at the bench. I think they kind of lit a spark into both teams, as we've seen the action pick up in the last few minutes because of it, I think.
Offensive zone draw for the Aggies. Ollier in against Koslet. Ollier wins it, and a wrister through traffic by Walton. Manzella had to be ready to glove that.
Walton looked to be lined up, as if Utah State can win another draw clean like it just did, he's going to be a right-handed shot with his stick facing the center ice and being able to get that shot quickly on.
Blauer off the circle. Sends it wide on the half wall. BYU reversing it, can't get it out. It's kept in. The Aggies in the slot trying to dig it out of a mass of humanity. And BYU comes the other way. The fans urging them on. It's a 2-on-2, and a good check by Fernandez delays that chance for Christensen, as he and Walton get friendly in the corner. And a big chick. Koslet sends down to the ice Lubin. And the fans love that check. Lubin reverses it behind his own net. Blauer's there. He runs into Blum, the goal scorer, giving him a hard time, but Blauer trying to get it out. Carlson, that took a funny deflection as BYU came back in the zone. Pritchard had to kick out the leg pad at the last second. And at center ice, it's a tired Blauer. He cannot get there. Walton cannot get there. BYU in the zone. That's a hard check. And Fernandez gets off onto the bench in a hurry. And he appears to be in quite some distress as he ripped off his cage, and the trainer tending to him. So the top defenseman out for the foreseeable future for Utah State until we get an update back. Now with 2-on-1 developing, and coming back to break it up was Pitcher. Good defensive effort by Teagan. Cutshaw tries to deliver a hip check at center ice on Pitcher. It works. Players spinning around left and right. It looks like a figure skating competition. And along the boards, it's finally dug out. And the Aggies can try to get it deep. Getting really physical, and a dumb penalty taken behind the play. No two ways about it by Christopher Grieber. And as it's sent down the ice, that is now two defensemen unavailable for the Aggies, and they will be shorthanded.
Yeah, no shoots for Grieber on that call. The play was all the way on the other side of the ice, and he was talking a little bit with Thornburst, and for whatever reason, the puck not even anywhere in the vicinity, ends up laying a body check down, and that back referee was able to see that one.
Fernandez still getting tended to on the Aggie bench. The referees sorting out the call. BYU did ice the puck, so even though they get the power play because of the icing, they don't get the offensive zone draw that normally comes with it.
Definitely correct about that one, Niall. And again, in such a tough contested game with a lot on the line, it's those undisciplined penalties like that can really sway a hockey game.
Shimbashi off the draw. BYU wants to get their entry that they like. Barris does get it in the zone, and he'll drop it to Shimbashi, the captain. Spins and reverses. Barris will creep back up. Sends one across. He wanted Stroud. Kirk Fliette, the captain for the Aggies, deflected the pass. 30 seconds already gone on this power play opportunity. At the point, Eisenstadt to Barris. Barris below the goal line, Shimbashi. Shimbashi riding off the stick check of Lubin. Across the middle, that pass couldn't get through the defensive effort of Ball. Stroud now back at the point for the Cougars. Down low, Shimbashi. To Porter. Porter protects it with his body and gets it up to Stroud at the blue line. He walks the line. Sends it to Shimbashi. He tries to get one in front. Ball breaks it up, but he fans on the clear, and it's kept in by BYU. Stroud, a nice pass through the middle, down low, trying to get it in front of the net, whacking away at it, and Pritchard appears to have it covered. As Alex Barris got a great pass from the point, as that one got threaded right through the middle of the ice, and Pritchard had to be ready for that save.
Jonathan Ball did a great job on that kneeling block for the shot. But again, the second time this game, he hasn't been strong on his stick, and getting that puck all the way down 200 feet almost ended up costing his team.
Good turnout today for the BYU fans, who have traveled very well today, almost like a bit of a home game for them, as the Cougar fans dominating the stands. And you can tell anytime BYU lays a big check or gets an offensive zone chance, the fans jump up and start yelling. Pitcher pauses, stuck between two men. He threw the pass right between them, no icing. And a poor clearing attempt by the Aggies allows BYU to set up. Christensen drives to the net. That pass couldn't get to him, and now the Aggies clear it down the ice with 10 seconds left on the power play.
Yeah, BYU in the second half with their second power play unit out there has not been able to get that much going.
Boyer in the corner. Farr giving him a hard ride. Christensen picks it up on his backhand. Sending it through the middle was Catalan. Pitcher now down low, the defenseman. The Aggies can try to clear it. Still stuck in behind their net, though. Lauer now will look to get it out. He kicks it ahead to himself, but loses it at his own blue line. Koslet throws one in front. Nobody there. Wheeler jumping in off the bench. He'll get past Kirk Fliette. The two of them go to battle along the boards. As BYU laying some very physical checks in the corner, trying to get the puck back. And Wheeler, he's been an absolute wrecking ball in the corner right now, making life miserable for the Aggies defenseman. Ball behind his own net. He'll have a chance to do something with it. As he rims it around, Kirk Fliette now has to go to battle against Thunhurst. Thunhurst wins it. He'll clap one wide of the net. A hard collision along the boards. BYU keeps it in. And the Aggies would have had a 2-on-1 the other way, but an injured player back in the BYU offensive end for the Cougars. Can't get a read on the number. The Aggies feel a little hard done, but a smart decision by the referee. Keep it cautious.
Yeah, especially anytime there's a head injury or any injury with the head involved. It's definitely something that can cause for concern, and so the referee smart to stop that play automatically. And it was a tough play as both players were barreling in, and they ended up almost sliding in like they're going into home plate. And it looked like ended up being number 22 for BYU, Axel Boyer, going in head first. And the Arizona State trainers helping out during the tournament, Jacob Bell, is checking in on him.
He's been a busy man during this tournament, Jacob has. And Boyer, it's been a solid season for him. Only 14 games played, but 16 points. Always good to have a player on your team that can average more than a point per game, and you have to know that Dave Pitcher likes the contributions he's been getting from Axel. As you get a good up-close view thanks to some great camera work we have up here in the booth. The referees huddling in their circle as they make sure they know where the next faceoff's going to be. The puck was in possession of the Aggies in the neutral zone when they blew the play dead. He is moving around a little bit, Boyer.
And going back to that play earlier, it seemed almost like 1 or 2 minutes that puck was just not going to leave that corner of the ice in the Utah State end, almost getting chewed up twice as much as the rest of the ice piece, as they were really battling and jousting for it.
Yeah, some great offensive effort. The forecheck ferocious for the Cougars, and especially in on the forecheck hard, Dimitri Wheeler. He was looking dangerous in the corner. 6'2", 200. He was throwing his body around, and that was making life miserable for the Aggies. The Aggies not the biggest team, Brett, and you can tell when the forecheck for BYU has gotten going this game that they have really been a dominant force.
As it looks like Boyer again is still down, and he's now rolled onto his back by the trainer and as well as the BYU coach, Dave Pitcher, out there as well, checking in on his player.
A very angsty moment in this game as everyone nervously awaits the news. As more help makes its way onto the ice. You can never be too careful with head and neck injuries nowadays. You do all you can to protect yourself out there, but as you mentioned, Brett, it's a fast game. It's obviously played on ice. Lots of checking involved and collateral damage, almost like you said earlier, just on a hard play going into the boards.
Looks like Boyer's finally able to at least have his upper body up from the ice. As well, you see walking on the ice as well as the Western Commissioner, John Eccles. Big taps and great sportsmanship by all, as well as the fans cheering on Boyer. Now helps back up to his feet. And again, hope for Boyer, nothing too serious. Again, we have no idea what transpired, or we're not any doctors, although we like to think so when we're playing the game of operation.
I'm glad to see Boyer has some good help done on the ice with his coaching staff and with Jacob Bell. I was never great at operations, so I certainly wouldn't want to be the one down on the ice helping him up.
Boyer's helped out on the ice. The referees are letting both respective benches know on, again, where that face-off is going to be and how the rest of the events for this hockey game is going to transpire.
7:13 left in this middle period. It's a tie game. The momentum had been in favor of BYU if you had to say either team, although it was pretty close. So it'll be interesting to see where we go from here. Still getting worked over by the trainer is Brett Fernandez on the bench for the Aggies. So both teams minus a key player. And after that long pause, we will finally get back going with some action. The Aggies in the offensive zone. O'Brien, he took a hard check and drew a penalty. Now he's in behind the net, getting some help. The Aggies try to work it out in front of the net, and BYU touches up. That's a penalty. Roughing will be the call. And behind the play, the BYU bench not too happy.
Yeah, I think it even could have been called as an interference possibly, as Maciunas was trying to dump the puck in, and then he wasn't touching the puck for a good couple seconds, ends up getting hit when he was looking away, trying to dissect another part of the ice.
Yeah, big check laid by the Park City native, Nixon Barber. A little too late, and he'll go to the box for two. And BYU facing some adversity now. The Aggies trying to take advantage, but they'll have to start this power play in their own end. The shot clock.
It looks like Brett Fernandez is going to be out here on this power play opportunity for Utah State.
That's good to see him back out on the ice. The shot clock right now in favor of BYU, but only by one. Kerkvliet tries to keep it in, but the penalty killer, Stroud, is able to rip one all the way down, and Pritchard has to deal with it behind his net. Ball up to Kerkvliet. He'll fork it into the corner. Kept alive by Walton, but BYU the first ones to the puck, and they'll send it down. A good penalty kill for the Cougars. Frost, first one in the corner to it. Ball tries to get the puck off him. Gets some help from Cutshall. The righty trying to skate it out of his zone, but the captain, Shimbashi, manages to take the puck off him. And BYU once again firing it all the way down the ice.
Again, Utah State has not been feeling settled here in this power play opportunity.
Pitcher sends one on net, and it takes a weird bounce. Pritchard didn't know where it was as he blockered it away. And it skyhooked right over his head, almost went into the corner of the net. O'Brien brings it in on his weak side. On his backhand, he'll skate around the net, stick handling, up to the point. Tries to send a wrister in. Decker in the corner, now to Farr up top. Low to high they go. Farr having some trouble with it. He'll get it back. Wrists one on. Can't control the rebound. Manzella and the puck behind the net. Push back in front. BYU gets a successful penalty kill. Catalin, O'Brien in against the wall. Dunhorst helping out. Now Decker in for the Aggies. The puck still against the wall. The physicality ensues. And that puck thrown up into the netting. And a whistle. And the physicality between these two teams, while it hasn't gone over the edge yet, Brett, you can tell both teams putting a lot of emotion out there on the ice.
It definitely is. And Utah State on that power play opportunity, they finally were able to get something a little late at the tail end of it. But again, they want to try to be able, I think it's been their Achilles heel as well throughout this whole weekend of being on the man advantage. Just need to be, again, more direct with it and treat it like a 5-on-5.
BYU bringing it into their offensive end. Blum gets a hard ride into his own bench. McKechnie in his feet. He can't find it. He'll push it down low, and the Aggies get a change behind the play as we are down to the final 4 minutes of the period. Wheeler. He can't get past McKechnie. And now it's Farr on it. Farr to McKechnie, ahead to Kerkvliet, the captain. He's in. He rides off a stick check and fires a hard shot low. And Manzella makes the save as O'Brien gets frisky in front of the net.
Yeah, Kinsella did not know where that puck really was, as once that initial shot came, he was still in the butterfly position, but looking around, and especially behind him, just in case that squirted through.
Offensive zone draw coming for the Aggies. Ollier will lean in against Barber. Ollier wins it. Walton trying to get a quick one off. Works its way behind the net. Battling for it is Walton in the corner. He pushes it to Blauer. Blauer tries to sidestep the defenseman, pitcher. He beats out a stick check and will throw it on net, as it was Nielsen who was actually giving chase, and Manzella another save. The Aggies having to work extremely hard just for the slimmest of chances.
Yeah, again, BYU is really making it tight in their own defensive end. Not too much space. I want to see Utah State, again, go back to what worked in the first period. Getting that puck straight up to the point and getting those shots through and getting redirection.
Picked up now by the assistant captain pitcher to Stroud. Stroud almost loses the puck, throws it on net, deflected the rebound, and Pitchard had to be ready. His best save of the period as it got whacked back in front of the net. And he had to show his athleticism as he denied that scoring attempt for the Cougars.
Yeah, it looked like Alex Barris was able to get that tip on it as it was thrown dangerously from the corner, and usually you're taking your chances if you're taking a shot from there because there's not too much angle, but with that redirection from Barris or a teammate in front, it really forced Pritchard with an athletic save.
A good heads-up play by Stroud just to get it to the net. As the great Wayne Gretzky said, you miss 100% of the shots that you never take. O'Brien gives it away, but Stroud can't corral the breakout pass, and that'll go down just far enough for an icing.
Again, a little back and forth so far. Really surprised we haven't had any more goals as the well's kind of dried up a little bit.
It's been very tit for tat so far in this game, but play lately has been a lot more neutral zone centered. Neither team getting sustained offensive zone pressure. BYU having trouble getting passes strung together. Now the Aggies can come back. Cutshall a good turn. And he feeds Decker in the offensive zone. Decker throws one on. And it's Waffle boarded away, a hand pass by BYU. And they cannot change an offensive zone draw once again for the Aggies with 2:06 on the clock.
BYU with that hand pass in their own zone. That's another face-off they're going to have to defend. It's about 2 minutes left in the second period.
The clearing attempts couldn't get out of the zone. Thrown at the point on net by Farr. The traffic was a little too thick. Lubin chops one ahead to Cutshall. He delays, gets it to Decker. Decker, he gets it to McKechnie, and he scores! Connor McKechnie absolutely wires one from the slot, and the Aggies have their first lead of the game. It's 3-2.
And those forwards really ended up connecting on that passing play. It was Cutshall taking two checkers with them at the offensive blue line to Decker. And Decker, with such patience of really getting the BYU defenseman to commit to him, and then he just dropped it back for the trailer coming late. End of the play, McKechnie, and he had wide open space to just line one up and fire past Manzella. And Utah State, first time in this game with a goal lead, and it's going to be very fun to see how they're going to defend this.
A huge lead for the Aggies as they get a quick strike late in this middle frame. Get a 3-2 lead. And BYU reeling a little bit. As you saw after that goal, McKechnie jawing a little with the goalie Manzella. as he's trying to get into his head. The Aggies 3 goals on only 18 shots. And they will send one up into the light fixture. An offensive zone draw for BYU. As the roof at Oceanside Ice Arena, Brett, this weekend has taken a bit of a beating.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we have a big enough Band-Aid to hope some of the ailments this roof has withstood, but hey, it's been here for a long time, so why not a little more? With 55 seconds left, it's going to be interesting if BYU can maybe, again, steal one here in the last minute of the period.
Kirk Foyette and Barber, the 223s in the circle. Barber wins that battle. Gets back to the point, thrown on in front. Christensen looking for the tip. Bell behind his net. And he'll sky it upwards again. And the referees say no change once more for the Aggies. As the Shimbashi line comes out on the ice for BYU. Barris and Stroud along with Shimbashi, the new forwards. Pitcher at the point, tried to keep it in for BYU. He couldn't knock it down. And the Aggies get a partial change. Stroud in a 2-on-1 developing. Barris, and he couldn't keep that puck on his tape. Aggies just trying to get out of their zone. 20 on the clock. Shimbashi and McKechnie almost on a breakaway. And that'll be offsides, as a little over eager was Barris on the far side wing.
Yeah, almost ended working out in BYU's favor because the defenseman for Utah State, Ball, was out there for so long after those continuous icing and chipping the puck out of play calls. And when he was trying to react to that puck in the neutral zone to step up and pinch, he was just a little too slow, and that allowed BYU to possibly get in an odd man rush.
Barris tries to get through the draw into the offensive zone, and it's skied out by the Aggies. Maybe one more chance as Christensen can't get in the zone. Drew Decker, a good stick check. And the second will end with the Aggies up 3-2 as they finally managed to get through BYU and take a little bit of the game into their own hands. And Brett, as we sum up those middle 20 minutes of action, it took a little bit longer than we expected because of that injury in the middle of the period.
Yeah, unfortunate again for the BYU player, Axel Boyer. Again, if we do get any update, we will pass that information along to you, the viewers watching us today. But Utah State really came out of that. I think they scored 2 goals in that second period and now have the lead for the first time in this hockey game. And that was really their period. So with it being 20 more minutes left in this third period, it's going to be on Utah State to, again, play really cautious. I'm going to expect for them to have a passive forecheck and really just try to keep BYU at bay.
And we will see what happens. BYU's look dominant tonight. Utah State's look dangerous with their speed. We will see which rules the day after the final 20 minutes. The intermission just beginning. That means 15 minutes from now, we will bring you the final potential 20 minutes of the first game of today's Western Regional action between Utah State and BYU here on ASU ACHA YouTube. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, into Oceanside Ice Arena in Tempe, Arizona, as we get set for the third period between Utah State and BYU. The Aggies, after trailing early and trailing twice in this game, managed to get a lead in the second period, Brett, and now they will look to defend that lead and earn a trip to nationals.
Yep, again, 20 minutes is separating them and Frisco, Texas. But like it has been all game, I'm not sure if really any team's able to hold a lead against one another.
The crowd's getting into it now, the bench cheering the players on, and here we go for the third period. An early whistle will stop play in the neutral zone. And I'll remind you, my name is Niall Cooper, my partner Brett Vaughn, Seth Askelson on the camera today. Eisenstadt wrists one in around, goes to the far corner, ball up against Stroud. They'll keep it up against the boards. Stroud trying to kick it out. Ball happy to keep it right up against the boards. Now it's out and thrown on from the point. Into the corner, it's Fernandez. Brett Fernandez, he can't get it out. O'Brien can. And Masinas will backhand it deep. Lubin will get it all the way down to the BYU end as we're a minute into this period. Cutshaw across as he picked up a loose pass out of the BYU end and tried to feed Decker. Back to the point, fanned on the shot. As Farr had a chance to step into that. Catalan doesn't have a stick, and he has to get some help just to get rid of the puck. As the McKechnie-Cutshaw-Decker line once again putting in some good work in the offensive zone for the Aggies. Porter sends it into the corner. The Aggies get a change. O'Brien now settles it down, gets into the zone, shakes off a check, gets past the defenseman, tries to work it behind the net. Christensen gives him a hard check. And now stripping the puck away is Rudder. Christensen to Carlson and out of the zone. And Brett, right now the Aggies look content to get the puck and just dump it in and get the forecheck established.
Yeah, again, already have that one-goal lead. Nothing special. Be a little more passive on the forecheck. Make sure defensemen are back and no one gets behind yourself.
Manzella covers it for a whistle. 2:19 into the period. And just to let everyone know that was tuning in the second, Axel Boyer, he went down, a scary moment as he went hard headfirst into the boards. There was a good 5 to 10 minute delay as he was looked over by medical staff, eventually came off the ice under his own power for the most part. He will not return tonight, but the good news is he did not have to go to the hospital as he was diagnosed and treated in-house, and he appears to be on the mend already. That puck up into the stands, unable to catch it is the patron, but on the second chance opportunity, she will catch it. Maybe not looking at any sort of Bryce Harper kind of contract coming up on the horizon for her.
No, definitely not, but she's definitely given an example of what BYU needs to do, and is to create second chance opportunities for themselves and put on the rebound and pick up the puck just like that nice lady did in the crowd.
Good attendance tonight, especially if you're a BYU supporter, as they traveled in packs. And they've been cheering on their team all game. Cutshaw will just throw it in, and Manzella covers it once again. And it appears the speed right now for the Aggies is beating out the hard physical forecheck that BYU sustained earlier in the game.
Yeah, again, we're seeing it whenever they have to either have a neutral zone regroup or if they're coming out of their own defensive end and breaking out the offensive side. They're not doing anything fancy at the offensive blue line. They're just getting that puck in deep.
Cutshall leans in against Koslet. McKechnie tried to get a shot on net. Manzella steered it wide, deflected from the point shot, and Manzella seals the arm just in time as Cutshall tried to deflect the shot from far.
Cutshall, the assistant captain, has been very impressive again, using that elusive speed as well as his hand-eye coordination, tipping that shot from his defenseman far from the point.
Not to mention the beautiful pink laces that both he and the captain, Josh Kirkfleet, share. Easy to spot them in a crowd. And that'll go all the way down for an icing.
Again, a poor pass by Farr. I'm just trying to force a pass that he doesn't need to be making there. And now it'll allow BYU to possibly get an opportunity against a tired Utah State team in their own end.
Carlson, Wheeler, and Blum come out onto the ice. Fresh troops for the Cougars. They lose the draw, though. Lubin, McKechnie, and Cutshall will clear it. The Aggies just trying to get it out of their zone. And they will, as Cutshall gloves it down, drops to McKechnie. He'll fire, deflected over the net. And that will spring the BYU attack. As Carlson sorts it out, stops and backhands one into the slot. The Aggies having a little bit of trouble with it behind their own net. And now they can send it all the way down. Not a great decision by McKechnie, though, as that'll go for an ice.
Again, Utah State making it easy for BYU to operate in the offensive end with another icing call. And again, another tired group out for the Aggies.
Kirkfleet will lean in against Barber. Barber in the corner, gets the puck away from Ball. In the slot, both teams trying to find it. Ball will poke it to Kirkfleet. And behind the play, a hooking minor will be assessed. And that will be against BYU, and the Cougars trying to battle from behind now will have to focus on a penalty kill.
Ill-timed penalty in their own end. It's going to be a hooking call faced by Nixon Barber for BYU. And when you're coming back into this hockey game, something you definitely do not want to do is take a penalty.
Lubin fires, and that one goes wide of the net. It's off of the set play. He had a chance to rip one far side. Couldn't find the 4x6. Cutshall drops it to Lubin. Cutshall back on it. The assistant captain. His pass strays a little away from where he wanted it. And now it's Kirkfleet. Pitcher came all the way up to delay him. And Lubin will dump it in, but the Aggies nowhere near the puck. However, a misplay by pitcher allows Utah State to keep it in the offensive end. Kirkfleet trying to poke it in the corner. Back up to the point. That puck bobbling. Ball wasn't ready for it. Ball takes a hard check, a little slow to get up, no call. Aggies in once again. Not able to do anything with it though when 44 seconds left on their power play opportunity.
BYU doing a tremendous job on this penalty kill of not been able to, one, stay in their own zone for a long period of time, but also, two, able to put Utah State under a little bit of pressure and a couple of scoring chances have arose from it.
Very touch and go right now. Farr sends one in front, traffic in front of the net. That'll be sent all the way down as Walton gives a little stick tap to Manziel, letting him know no ill will on that attempt in front of the net as he got into the blue paint.
Utah State too reactive on this man advantage. Again, going back to the old ways a little bit from what we saw from the previous games they've played so far.
O'Brien trying to chase it down. Good effort, but he won't get there. Barris between his legs corrals it. He has Stroud going to the net. He throws one on frame. It was loose in front, but poked away. And Lallier can try to get it out. He's having a little trouble with it, and it gets turned over. Eisenstadt, sharp angle. And it's kicked out and brought ahead by O'Brien. He can't beat out the back check of Barris, and he might have saved a breakaway opportunity. Cutshall on the second wave gives it to Blauer. Blauer loses it. After it once again, he'll have it and lose it again. As it's on and off of his stick. And now it's BYU. Shimbashi just trying to settle it down, as there's no free real estate right now on this ice sheet.
Looks like it's going to be a hooking call. Again, another penalty on BYU is going to be Christian Koslet heading to the sin bin. He wanted to do a little water skiing on the Utah State player Blauer. And again, they just keep shooting themselves in the foot right now, BYU. They're just stalling early in this third period.
And you really can't blame him, Brett. I mean, it's 75 and sunny out there today. I want to be out there water skiing too. Ball at the point. They move it across, and the one-timer off of the iron. Fernandez couldn't get it to go. He beat the goalie, but he couldn't beat the post. Fernandez keeps it in. Lubin trying to get it to the net as he dives to make a play. Rudder in the corner. He's all over Lubin. Lubin throws it in front. Throwing a soft backhander. It's over the net. It's on the goal line. And Manzella had to fall back on it as that puck literally stopped right on the goal line.
A dangerous play, and Jared Manzella made the save off his blocker, but he didn't steer it up high enough up over the net, and instead just popped right down near the goal line, and almost like the puck just stopped working and just sat there on the goal line. Luckily, Manzella was able to recover and look back behind him and put the glove on it.
And Cutshall, he has an apple today. Almost got a goal on that funny bounce.
Also earlier on that shift, Brett Fernandez in the neighborhood where he likes it on the power play on the right post, almost putting home that one-timer like he did in yesterday's game.
One-timer from Kerkvliet, and Manzella's there. And he makes the save through some traffic. As the Aggies right now getting it back to the point and letting it rip with traffic in front of the net.
Aggies treating it, like I was saying earlier, like it was a 5-on-5 game of them feeding the point and then getting bodies and either getting deflections or traffic in front of Manzella.
Ball back defending Stroud as he came in the offensive zone shorthanded. He'll lose it, but he does get some valuable time off the clock as we're inside the final 60 seconds on the Utah State power play. Kerkvliet having a hard time getting past Porter. Porter on it again. He gets it forward. And Barris can delay. and dish it over to his defenseman, who will finally chip it in the zone. Having a little trouble and almost turning it over was Fernandez, but he'll sort it out and get it to O'Brien. O'Brien wheeling around the offensive zone in the corner. Shakes off a stick check, and Farr can put it back down low below the goal line. Farr on it once again, sends a wrister, he scores! A hard wrister and an absolute seeing eye shot from Trace Farr. Paints the upper corner, and the Aggies open up the lead to 4-2.
Eventually the Aggies get rewarded for working that puck up to the point. Trace Farr collected it, took a little bit of time to open up a lane for himself, and then the seeing eye wrist shot goes off the crossbar and down past the goaltender Manzella. A much needed insurance goal for the Aggies.
And just like that, an undisciplined play by BYU leads to a timely goal for the Aggies. And as we near the midway point of this third, Brett, the task at hand just got a little bit bigger for the Cougars. Pitcher gets it into the offensive zone. That shot goes just wide. With speed is Cutshall now. Pitcher takes a hit, gets it to Wheeler. He'll try to get it off the glass, make the smart play. But Rudder will have to restart that breakout. BYU not quite on the same page. Carlson forces it in the offensive zone and tries to get one in front of the net. And that puck gets lost in the equipment of Ball.
Well, I was arguing a little bit on wanting that face-off outside. I don't think he's going to win it, though. 9:40 left in this third period. Again, BYU have to understand that Utah State's going to be very passive, and so they're going to have to really go to the boards and win it in their corners if they want to try and tie this game up.
Walton, he'll fire one all the way down. He has Blauer chasing after it. He'll beat out the icing. Blauer, first one to the puck. He gets some help from Lallier. BYU comes out on top, though, as it's Christensen. And now it's in the offensive zone and thrown on frame by Koslet. An easy save for Pritchard. And Brett, the ice sheet looking a little choppier right now. BYU, they're already having some trouble getting out of their zone, and it's going to get even a little bit harder as this ice continues to get worn down. Thunhorst back to the point now. Eisenstadt fakes out O'Brien, and he'll backhand one in the slot. Takes it come back to the point. Pitcher. And his shot goes wide. That took a weird bounce right out to him. A rugby scrum along the half wall as both teams try to dig it out. And Kirk Fliette will be content to just throw it all the way down the ice and right on frame, so no icing.
BYU had the right idea on those last couple of offensive zone rushes on just going to, one, direct the puck in the net, but two, also having at least one or two guys heading there for that second chance opportunity or deflection.
Stroud in the corner behind the net. Shimbashi can't corral it. Hopped over his stick. Down low, BYU prevails, and they will draw a power play as Lubin got caught with his stick right in the feet. And he is absolutely red hot. He can't believe the call.
Alex Barrett for BYU deciding that if they want to get back in this hockey game again, they had to work hard in the corners, and that he did. Hot on the trot for the puck retrieval, and then was able to coerce the BYU defenseman to take a tripping call, and now BYU has a power play opportunity.
BYU a chance to get themselves back into this game. They need 2 goals to tie it up. A trip to nationals on the line. That shot, and that goes just wide. Sailing by the net, only by inches it missed. Costlet ripping it. Wouldn't go. He's on it once again. Working it. High to low into the slot. The one-timer wouldn't get through. Another shot. That time from Eisenstadt, and again, Pritchard makes the save as BYU looks for the one-timers.
Also, too, Pritchard's got to give some stick taps to his penalty killing unit in front of him, as they've been doing a great job of just clearing out the shooting lanes. So although that shot might be coming through, Pritchard is allowed to have full vision and track that puck.
Pritchard's going to be the man of the hour the last 7:46 of this game, as BYU really going to be turning up the pressure on this power play and from here on out to try and tie it up. Barris behind the net, manages to keep it. Sends it to Eisenstadt, trying to settle down a rolling puck. Eisenstadt doesn't have a shooting lane, gets it to Stroud, back to Eisenstadt. He'll get the shot, deflected, picked up by the Aggies. They can't clear it. Porter gets it to Eisenstadt, he'll settle it down, wrists one on, and Pritchard another save.
BYU being a little too stagnant in terms of their puck movement on just passing to the perimeter. They need to be able to do one or two quick moves, and then if they want to work it on that side, if there's not going to be any traffic in front of the goaltender Pritchard, they're going to have to take that shot right away in order to not allow Pritchard to get fully set up.
It's in the corner along the wall. Diving to clear it out, and he is successful in doing so. That was Drew Decker for the Aggies. And that will take some valuable time off the clock for BYU. A great individual effort by Drew Decker. Christensen dekes at center line. In the offensive zone, he sends it over to his winger. Looking for the shot, couldn't get it through behind the net. Pritchard, not sure where the puck is. It's right behind him. Winning the battle and emerging with it is Costlet in the slot. He had Thunhurst. Back to the point. The Aggies trying to clear it. They'll get it all the way down. No icing on the play as Manziel is forced to move the puck. The Aggies, a successful penalty kill, and we're down to 6 minutes in this game. The Cougars need 2 goals. O'Brien gets the turnover and sends it in deep. Eisenstadt turns, and he'll start moving his feet and bring it out of the zone himself. Eisenstadt, he goes 200 feet and rips a shot that deflects over the net, and an offensive zone draw forthcoming.
The Aggies have been playing that preventative forecheck in this past couple minutes, finally settling in where they have the 1-2-2 of the one forward going into the zone first, doing a light pressure, trying to cut off the half of the ice, and then you have both 2 forwards and 2 defensemen and occupying both neutral zones.
Porter at the point, tries to feed it into the slot to Wheeler. Carlson after it. Cutshall. He gets it up the wall. Decker blew a tire, and so McKechnie has to clear it. Eisenstadt button hooks in his own end, gets his head up, feeds it into the slot. Carlson having a hard time handling it, and will go all the way back down in the BYU end. We are now inside of 5 minutes. Thunhurst, he delayed at the line, and Nielsen went in off sides for the Cougars.
With the Aggies really coagulating up on their own blue line, it's going to be a lot harder for BYU to carry the puck in. They're going to have to elect to either, if they do have the lane, go ahead and skate it, but most likely dump the puck in.
Lauer, a one-on-one. He'll skate it in the zone and wrist one on net. Manzella Sticks it into the corner. Lallier chips one, redirected in front. And that will go wide. BYU decides to give it away as they rimmed it around to no one. And the Aggies keeping it in that BYU end, continuing to kill off the clock. Blauer at the point, settles it down and sends it back in behind Manzella. And now Rudder will try to get it out single-handedly. He almost does, but inevitably gives it up to Blauer, the second man in on the forecheck. Shimbashi. Now Barris. They're in on sides this time. Barris gets poked away. Picked up at the point, trying to throw it on, but blocked by the captain, Kirkfliet. Josh Kirkfliet, he'll fire it all the way down the ice, just getting out of the way as the linesman. And that will be an icing.
BYU getting some luck getting an icing call, but as we have the referee blowing his whistle, and it's going to be a timeout for BYU. But right now, I think I like the call for head coach Dave Pitcher to be able to just slow this game down, because for these past couple minutes, BYU has been running about a little bit in their own zone, panicking when they get the puck, and really just coming and doing everything themselves individually and not really using each other and having trust in your teammates right now.
Certainly not. BYU maybe a little bit nervous, kind of scrambling, not sure how to get themselves back in the game, which is ironic because the way they came out in the first, if that's the game that they could have matched minute in, minute out the whole game, they probably would be leading right now. But the Aggies, they've had some extremely timely goals and some good goaltending when they've called upon Pritchard. Pritchard hasn't been nearly as busy as he was yesterday. Only faced 27 shots thus far tonight. As it's been the Aggies who have really turned up the heat in this third period. Does BYU have an answer? Shimbashi in the corner, he couldn't corral it. The Aggies will try to rim it out. Kept in by Stroud, and he'll rip one by the head of Fernandez. And it's kept in by Eisenstadt behind the net. Eisenstadt tries to make a move on Ball. Jonathan Ball able to steal the puck as it moves from one end of the goal line to the other. And that will be whistled down as the Aggies were just killing it along the boards. A good kill as we're down to 3 minutes.
The goaltender, Manzella, has not been pulled yet, although they're down 2 goals. They do have that offensive zone draw, so they have that option if they want to, but I think right now you want to be a little more safe and cautious and see if you can get that first goal, and then once you have more of a sure chance of getting that game within 1, then elect to pull the goaltender.
Fernandez rims it around, and they get it out this time. As O'Brien giving a hard ride to Porter. And O'Brien gets it in once again. The Aggies get a change behind the play. And Christensen trying to make a solo effort. Ends up giving it up. And that dump in right in on Pritchard. He'll have to cover it. And BYU, another offensive zone draw. They haven't been able to do much with the ones they've gotten, though.
Yeah, these faceoffs are just going to keep amounting to more and more significance. They have to bear down a little bit more with their sticks in the draw. If Bears can't win this clean, he needs to get some help from some of his wingers.
Rimmed around. Far on it now, trying to get it behind his net. It's picked off, and Shimbashi after it, the captain for BYU. He'll emerge, trying to work it in the slot. Nothing there. He'll get it into the corner. Stroud on it, behind the net to Barris. And the Aggies chip it out. Cutshall chasing it down. The goalie's been pulled. Cutshall sent down to the ice, no call. Eisenstadt, he's got time and space. Gets in the offensive zone. No look into the slot. He actually found his man. A little surprised to receive it was pitcher. And the Cougars keep it in only momentarily, and BYU will send it all the way down the ice. And that will be an icing. 1:37 on the clock. The Cougars already used their timeout. So no set play forthcoming unless the Aggies decide to give their players a rest. Although they are still up 2 goals, they might be content to just let things play out.
The Aggies look fresh right now. I think they can see that finish line in just under 1:37 that they can get there that so close.
The Aggies 90 seconds away from securing their ticket to Frisco. Eisenstadt down low to Christensen. Below the goal line, thrown in front. Pritchard, he goes post to post. What a save by Pritchard as it was sitting on his doorstep. And he comes across to make one of the biggest saves of the night. Almost down to 60 seconds. Eisenstadt toes the line. Backhands one in front in the corner. Kirkvliet. Now it's picked up and sent all the way down. And it will be another icing off the stick of Drew Decker.
Yeah, it's a tough call there by the linesman on if it was going to be an icing or not, but I think the reason why is the puck just had way too much speed for what that BYU defenseman could have handled to get it under control and just whizzed by him, and that's why we're going to have this icing call.
And Brett, the biggest save of the game from Pritchard.
Yeah, unbelievable save again. He's come up time and time again, really relying on him this weekend.
Through a massive humanity. Eisenstadt can't get it. It was going to go all the way down to the net, and pitcher has to play it. And now he'll bring it back up. The assistant captain, he weaves through the center ice, across the blue line. They're on. Pitcher on it. Throws sharp out shot. He scores! Oh, my! Tegan Pitcher, out of nowhere, he beats Pritchard from a non-existent angle. And BYU has the goal that gets them within 1.
Pitcher, as the defenseman, was able to save that goal as that puck was dumped all the way from the Utah State end. Then ended up skating him up himself and just really threw an innocent shot. And I think the goaltender, Pritchard, was just a little too narrow in his stance. Ended up whizzing by him on the far side, stick side. And with 31 seconds left, BYU is going to have to be really aggressive on how they attack this.
The Utah State coaching staff telling their players to batten down the hatches as BYU coming back with all that they've got. Another sharp angle shot. And that gets deflected up into the netting with 24.5 on the clock.
Again, no surprise. BYU with their pulled goaltender. They have all their righties on that left side of the ice, so if they do get a win, a clean win from Barris, they can be able to shoot on their forehand easily.
BYU wins the draw. Back to the point. Pitcher fires a wrister, and Pritchard, he had his head down looking for that puck and found it. And another save. Utah State right now just trying to hang on. Barris in the circle. And Utah State gets a late substitution as Decker comes on the ice and replaces Cutshall. Another win. Pitcher looking for the shot again. He's feeling himself. Sends it down low. Back up to Eisenstadt. Eisenstadt, he had no shooting lane. Goes down low. 11 seconds. They throw it through the middle of the ice. No one there. Running out of time now. BYU, Eisenstadt. He's over to Pitcher. He rips one. And Pritchard with a big glove save. 1.5 on the clock. And BYU swinging it around the offensive zone. They got the chance they wanted. Pitcher with the big shot from the point, and it just couldn't find its way through.
Yeah, just a little too high, and it's going to be an easier save for Pritchard, the goaltender, because he does not have to go down on his knees and try to track that. But also, too, it's a little easier because since that puck was so high, if there was going to be a BYU player trying to redirect that shot, it would have been intended as high sticking and therefore not have counted as a goal.
And Brett, unfortunately, for BYU, this is not the NHL. We don't have the replay to go and put some time back on the clock. So they are stuck with the 1.5 that's sitting there right now. Their goalie's pulled. It's an offensive zone draw. It's going to have to be something quick.
Yeah, not too many options. It's going to have to be maybe a shot off the draw, just something that can get it towards the net.
Barris in the circle. Utah State gets it in the corner, and Utah State, you're going to Texas. A beautiful celebration ensues, and the Aggies know that their season is not done yet.
Utah State, one of the teams that ended up playing the play-in game on Thursday, have had to go the distance playing 3 games this weekend, and nothing short of spectacular from this Aggies team. Head coach CJ Westlake has to be proud with how these guys have conducted themselves, facing adversity in different types of hockey games. They were down again at one point of this hockey game against BYU, but they somehow pulled through collectively as a team.
Beautiful stuff as Utah State, they faced adversity all weekend long and laid on that BYU goal from pitcher, made things really exciting. And Utah State with a beautiful bend but don't break. And at the other end of the ice, you see BYU distraught, in dismay and besides themselves. They played a beautiful game yesterday against GCU, Brett, and they fall just short today, but nothing to hang their heads about as they played a great game.
Yeah, BYU, incredible season, had a great game and stunned most of the people that were handicapping the tournament against GCU, and they're getting some support from their friends and family that came out to the game tonight. Great to see, and also a great game that we just witnessed.
A great game. Some more beautiful Western Regional action. And that game had a little bit of everything. It had its ups, it had its downs, it had its injuries, and it had its comebacks from injuries. And it ends up with a Utah State victory. The handshake line commencing, and we will now bring you inside the broadcast booth here in Oceanside Ice Arena. My partner, Brett, a beautiful game we just witnessed, and how do you put a bow on this for everybody that tuned in? Because boy, oh boy, was there a lot to digest.
Oh man, I mean, we saw it even after the first period. This game was in the balance, and it was just waiting for someone to end up taking it, but ended up being Utah State getting that insurance marker, which proved to be vital, capitalizing on that power play from the goal from far, which gave them that 4-2 lead early in this third period, and that proved to be just enough to hold off the Cougars.
It was just enough. There were a lot of contributions for Utah State today. Drew Decker had a whale of a game for the Aggies.
Yeah, he definitely did. Had poise, especially on that third goal that they ended up scoring. It was really all set up by him on the dish that he ended up giving it to McKechnie on for the wrist shot goal. With the poise that he showed, especially at such a big point of the season. This is the biggest point of the season. Again, so much on the line, and for him to have that wherewithal, he's going to be my Oxy Pow player of the game.
Beautiful stuff. And folks, that was absolutely enthralling. And we're not even done yet. We still have one more Western Regional game, one more ticket left to be punched, Brett, with our final game of the weekend.
Yes, it's going to be Montana State against Williston State. Great story. Williston State is a 2-year community college. And again, we're going to have some dreams made and some dreams broken later on tonight. And
there's storylines everywhere, folks, so don't go anywhere. Stay with us on YouTube. We will be starting up the new stream for the final game of the evening in just a short little while, once everything gets cleaned up on the ice and these celebrations conclude. I am Niall Cooper. My partner, Brett Vaughn. Seth Askelson was on the camera. So happy to bring you this Western Regional action, and we will be back in a little while with our final game of the night, Williston State and Montana State, here on ASU ACHA YouTube.